In this lesson, we learn about the count function in Excel. The count function is quite useful to count items within an Excel range. We will first look at the main count function, then look at a couple of variations. Let's get started. The count function counts the number of cells that contain numbers within a specified range. Here we have a simple table with 3 columns with some data. Let's say you wanted to count the number of values in column 1 that had numbers. We could use the count function. So right here we could hit the equal sign, count, and then we specify the range where we want to do the count. So I'm going to select here, close the parentheses and hit enter. As you can see, it returns a value of 3. So we have 3 numbers in this column, 12, 56, and 34, so it's counting those 3 values. There's a 4th value that's text, which is not counted, since the count function only counts numbers. Now I'm going to go ahead and click the lower right corner of this cell and drag this formula to the other cells. As you can see, the count formula in the next cell returns a result of 2 because there are 2 numbers here and then there's 1 text and then there's 1 blank. So it only counts these 2 numbers. And in the final column, column 3, the result is 0 because there's only text and blanks. There are no numbers. So as you can see, the count function is really useful in returning the number of values in a range that contain numbers. The count A function counts any cell that is not blank in a range. Count A will count cells with any combination of numbers and text. Let's take a look at count A here. I'm going to type in the equal sign in the count A formula, open parentheses, then I'll specify the range here, close the parentheses and hit enter. The result is 4. So let's take a look at how this formula returned 4. The count A formula is counting the 3 numbers here, and then it's also counting this text value for a total of 4. Now let's grab the fill handle here and copy this formula to the 2 other columns and take a look at what happens here. So in the next column we get a result of 3. So here the count A formula is counting the 2 numbers plus the text for a total of 3. It ignores the blank value. Now if we go to the final column and we get a result of 2, so here the count A value is counting these 2 text values. It ignores the 2 blank values, and there are no numbers, so there are no numbers to count. So for a total of 2. So that's how the count A function works. The count A function counts any cell that is not blank in a range. The count blank function counts only the blank cells in a range. So if we go here and specify the count blank function, open parentheses, select the range, close parentheses, enter, and the result is 0. So the count blank function returns 0 because this range doesn't have any blank cells. Now let's copy this formula to the other cells. So if we look at the second column, the count blank function returns a value of 1 because there's 1 blank cell in the range. And in the final column, the count blank function returns a value of 2 because it doesn't count the 2 text values, it just counts the 2 blank values. So there you have it. That's the count blank function. It counts only the blank cells in a range. In this lesson, we looked at Excel count functions to count values in a range. First, we looked at count, which counts numeric values in a range. Then we looked at count A, which counts non-blank cells in a range, including numbers and text. And finally, we looked at count blank, which counts blank cells in a range. I hope this lesson has added to your Excel knowledge. Please click the like button and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay inspired and keep learning.